Welcome children, take out your history book, chapter 5 from traders to rulers. Many independent states emerged after the decline of the Mughal Empire. These states constantly fought among themselves. They failed to realize the increasing power of the European trading companies and the threat that they posed to India. This disunity proved very expensive for the India. The ultimate consequence of it was the colonization of India, Europeans as traders. The English became the supreme naval power in Europe after the defeat of Spain in 1588. The English merchants started looking greedily at Asian trade. A group of English merchants formed a company to trade with the East. Queen Elizabeth granted it a charter on 31st December 1600. It was named East India Company and was given the monopoly of trade with the East. Hawkins, the ambassador of James I, King of England, visited the court of Jahangir in 1609 and received a farman to establish an English factory at Surat. The English defeated the Portuguese in 1612 and were permitted to build a factory at Surat in 1615. The English ambassador Sir Thomas Roe reached the Mughal court. He succeeded in getting permission to carry on trade at Surat and forming factories at Agra, Ahmedabad and Balkh. At that time, a factory meant nothing else than a mere trading center where things were bought and sold and different articles of sale and purchase were stocked. Nothing was manufactured in these factories as is done these days. It needs to be mentioned here that conditions in the south were more favorable to the English as they did not have to tackle any strong government there. They got a piece of land from the Raja of Chandragiri in 1639 and founded the city of Madras on the east coast. Here the English constructed a fort around the factory called Fort St. George. It became the headquarters of the English settlements in India. English East India Company. In 1650, the company got the permission to trade in Bengal and establish factories as Hooghly and other places. In 1661, Charles II, the King of England, allowed the East India Company to issue coins, build forts, maintain army and declare war to make peace with the necessities arose. Charles II obtained the island of Bombay from the Portugal as dowry. He handed over Bombay to the company in 1668 as it was immediately fortified. A little later, the company was granted exemption from the payment of custom duties in Bengal in return for rupees 3,000 a year. In 1698, the company obtained 3 villages in Bengal where it built Fort William around its factory. These villages soon grew into a big city which came to be known as Calcutta. The company progressed at rapid speed and eliminated the supremacy of other rival powers in India. It took advantage of the unstable political condition of India and succeeded in establishing British rule in the country. The English came as traders but became the masters of this country in due course of time. French East India Company. Apart from fighting wars with the native powers, they had to face their European rivals such as the Portuguese, the Dutch and the French. In 1580, when Spain conquered Portugal, the fate of the Portuguese power in India was sealed. The Dutch themselves left the stage in India because they were more interested in the East Indies, better known for spices. However, with the French, the British had to fight 3 kinetic wars but ultimately succeeded in driving out the French from India due to their expertise and better sources. The French East India Company was formed in 1664. Its base was in Pondicherry. Anglo-French rivalry. The French and the British interfered in the wars of succession in the states of Hyderabad, Carnatic and the Marathas. In this manner, they fought proxy wars against each other. Dupleix, the French governor, wanted to maintain French supremacy in the Deccan through his shrewd diplomacy, but he was matched by the equally determined young officer called Robert Clive of the English army. 3 kinetic wars were fought between 1744 and 1763. At the end of the last war, the French were diminished to a negligible force in the south by the English. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.